Let's explore the evolution of mobile networks, covering the architectural and technological advancements from 2G to 5G. We'll discuss the key features of each generation and how they've shaped the mobile communication landscape. The following networks are covered in this presentation: second generation or 2G, third generation or 3G, fourth generation or 4G, and fifth generation or 5G. We will now delve into the architecture of 2G networks, also known as GSM or GPRS, which laid the foundation for modern mobile communications. 2G represents the first digital cellular system, launched in 1991. It introduced circuit-switched voice calls for making phone calls. GPRS, or General Packet Radio Service, added packet-switched data capabilities, evolving into what is called 2.5G. Data rates were initially at 9.6 kilobits per second with GSM, and improved to up to 114 kilobits per second with GPRS. It operated on 900 or 1800 MHz frequency bands in Europe, and 850 or 1900 MHz in the United States. The architecture includes the mobile station, the base transceiver station, the base station controller, the mobile switching center, the serving GPRS support node, and the gateway GPRS support node. Let's examine the key components that make up the 2G network architecture. First, we have the mobile station, which is the mobile phone equipped with a SIM card. The SIM card stores the subscriber's identity and authentication keys, allowing the phone to connect to the network via a radio interface. Next is the base station subsystem, or BSS. This includes the BTS, or base transceiver station, which houses the radio equipment and antennas, and the BSC, or base station controller, which manages multiple BTSs and handles radio resource management and handovers. Following the base station subsystem is the network switching subsystem, or NSS. This subsystem features the MSC, or mobile switching center, responsible for call routing and control. It also includes the HLR, or home location register, a comprehensive subscriber database, the VLR, or visitor location register, for temporary subscriber data, and the AUC, or authentication center, which provides security functions. Finally, we have the GPRS core network, which includes the SGSN, or serving GPRS support node, for packet routing and mobility management, and the GGSN, or gateway GPRS support node, which provides an interface to external networks, enabling packet switch data services alongside the circuit switch voice network. Here is the architecture of 3G networks, also known as UMTS and HSPA, which brought enhanced mobile broadband capabilities. 3G was introduced in the early 2000s, marking the arrival of true mobile broadband technology. It is based on WCDMA, or Wideband Code Division Multiple Access Radio technology. Data rates started at 384 kilobits per second, and improved to up to 42 megabits per second with HSPA+. Frequency bands include 850, 900, 1900, and 2100 MHz. 3G networks introduced a packet-switched core network. The architecture includes user equipment, Node B, radio network controller, mobile switching center, serving GPRS support node, and gateway GPRS support node. Let's break down the key components of the 3G network architecture. First is the user equipment, or UE, which refers to the mobile device that uses a USIM card. This has enhanced capabilities compared to the 2G devices. It supports higher data rates and multimedia services. Next is the UMTS Terrestrial Radio Access Network, or UTRAN, which includes the Node B, the base station that manages radio resources. It also includes the Radio Network Controller, or RNC, that controls multiple Node BS. It implements WCDMA air interface technology. Then comes the Circuit Switch Core Network, which includes the MSC, or Mobile Switching Center, for call handling, the Gateway MSC, or GMSC, that serves as an interface to external networks, and HLR and VLR for subscriber databases. It handles voice calls and circuit switch data. Lastly is the Packet Switch Core Network, which includes the SGSN, or serving GPRS support node, 4 packet routing and GSM, or gateway GPRS support node, that connects to external data networks. This is significantly enhanced compared to the 2G GPRS and supports HSPA and HSPA+ for higher data rates. Here is the architecture of 4G networks, known as LTE and LTE Advanced, which marked the transition to all IP networks. 4G was introduced around 2010. It represents the first all-IP mobile network architecture. It's based on OFDMA, or Orthogonal Frequency Division Multiple Access, and SCFDMA, or Single Carrier Frequency Division Multiple Access technologies. Data rate started at 100 megabits per second with LTE, and increased to up to 1 gigabit per second with LTE Advanced. It features a flat architecture with fewer network elements. It has reduced latency, achieving 10 milliseconds compared to 100 milliseconds in 3G. The architecture includes user equipment, enhanced Node B mobility management entity, serving gateway, PDN gateway, home subscriber server, and policy and charging rules function. Let's examine the components of the 4G network architecture. First is the user equipment or UE, which includes the LTE-capable mobile devices. These support high-speed data and multimedia, and have enhanced capabilities for VoLTE or Voice over LTE. Next is the Evolved UTRAN or eUTRAN, which features the eNode B, or Evolved Node B, which are the smart base stations. These handle radio resource management directly. There is no centralized controller like the 3G RNC. There is direct communication between eNode Bs via the X2 interface. Then we have the EPC control plane or Evolved Packet Core Control Plane, which includes the Mobility Management Entity, or MME for session management, the Home Subscriber Server or HSS, that stores the user database, and the Policy Control and Charging Rules function or PCRF. It handles authentication, security, and mobility. Lastly is the EPC user plane, which includes the Serving Gateway or SGW, that serves as the mobility anchor point, and the PDN Gateway or PGW that allocates IP addresses. It connects to external packet data networks and handles quality of service enforcement and data accounting. Let's examine the architecture of 5G networks, also known as NR or New Radio, and IMT 2020, which introduced a service-based architecture. 5G was introduced in 2019 and features a service-based architecture, or SBA. It's based on network slicing and virtualization. Data rates go up to 20 gigabits per second. It has ultra-low latency, achieving 1 millisecond. It supports massive IoT connectivity. The architecture includes user equipment, next-generation Node B, access and mobility management function, session management function, user plane function, network repository function, unified data management, policy control function, and network exposure function. Here are the key components of the 5G network architecture. First is the user equipment or UE, which consists of the 5G-capable devices with enhanced capabilities. It supports ultra-high-speed data transmission, has low power consumption for IoT applications, and supports multi-band operations in both sub-6 GHz and millimeter wave frequencies. Next is the 5G Radio Access Network or 5G RAN, which features the GNB, or next-generation Node B, which are the 5G base stations. These support massive MIMO and beamforming, and have a split architecture with a centralized unit and distributed unit for flexible deployment. It supports multiple radio access technologies, including 5G, 4G, and more. Next is the 5G Core Control Plane, which includes the Access and Mobility Management Function, or AMF, the Session Management Function, or SMF, the Unified Data Management, or UDM, the Policy Control Function, or PCF, and the Network Repository Function, or NRF. Finally, there is network slicing and edge computing, which involves the User Plane Function, or UPF, that handles data packet routing. It uses network slicing for service-specific virtual networks, and supports multi-access edge computing, or MEC. It also supports enhanced mobile broadband, or EMBB, ultra-reliable low-latency communications, or URLLC, and massive machine-type communications, or MMTC use cases. It also features a cloud-native implementation with microservices. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.